point and a clean sheet at Turf Moor any time would be a good result, but given the context of 6 games, no points, you must be delighted with the fight and determination from your team.
Yes, I take this today. Definitely a good feeling. Of course, we're just perfectly happy when we win a game of football, and especially in the second half, we had good situations, perhaps also to win this game. But in general, it was a difficult game for my team today because we've lost obviously the first 6 games. It was a difficult start in terms of the fixture list. We had this COVID outbreak in our camp in preseason. Last preseason friendlies were cancelled. It was difficult, and especially the first 6 games does something also with the confidence level of my young group anyhow. And in addition to that, we had also many changes in the first games in the starting lineup because some of our key players also arrived a bit later. Yeah, due to our situations to be a self-funding club and can't spend millions of money to bring them in absolutely early. And for that, Josh Sargent and Christos Solis arrived just before the first game day. Matthias Norman and Osa Kabak, after a difficult preseason for them, arrived even after the season has started. So I don't believe in too much rotation, especially in the beginning of the season, because we have to get used a bit to each other. So in many terms, it was a difficult start for us. And then to go here to such a tough place, to Turf Moor, and it's probably the most physical and most intense side in this league, and very experienced side, and also a side who knows, okay, in this home games against newly promoted side, you have to be on it anyhow, and you have to be spot on. You could feel and sense in the stadium that Burnley was on it today. And then to be able to show this steel and also this resilience, and to turn back with the first point in the season, to turn back with the first clean sheet, feels really good. And it was definitely the first step today. Many compliments for our lads. We don't overinterpret it, so many more steps are needed, and for that we're also not over the moon, because we're just over the moon when we win a game of football. And of course I would have preferred that we use one of our situations, especially in the second half, but all in all I can't complain too much today, and pretty valuable point, and also priceless to be off the mark, to be there with the first clean sheet. And so sometimes we got a bit the stack, really good possession side, but sometimes a bit soft in the duels, or a bit naive or unexperienced. Then to show this resilience also today against a very experienced and a very physical Burnley side with a direct approach, it's perhaps even more valuable than to be there with a first clean sheet and the first point perhaps in a away game at Liverpool or Chelsea or something like this. So for that, I'm quite pleased, and I'm happy for my lads, because it was not easy with all the criticism in the last days. And for that, a good first step, but we want to keep going and also to make the next steps.
As you say, there's been a lot of criticism. You've had to take a lot of that on the chin. But what does that do for the belief, both for inside the camp and outside the camp? You saw the reaction of the fans, the away fans, at the final whistle.
Yes, the point will be absolutely good for the mood, for the confidence. And I'm not a deep believer in statistic, but also it stops it to count. 6 losses in a row. We are off the mark. First clean sheet. It's good for the boys, and also especially when you have such a young side anyhow. So, and of course, it's not easy in terms of self-confidence when there is some criticism anyhow. And for that, it will do definitely no harm anyhow that we had such a good away point today. Also, with the reception of our supporters and at the final whistle was quite important also for them. And we have to keep in mind that for many lads it was not easy. When I think, for example, about Matthias Norman after a difficult preseason, he plays in a key role for us. I had to substitute him in his first 2 games after 60 minutes because he was not really ready. And then also to go through this today for 90 minutes, and last 5 or 10 minutes his tank was pretty empty, and I was pleased for him and will help him a lot. Or Ozan Kabak was also a bit criticism for his first games. I think today he was really a rock in defending and nearly scored a goal and had a great assist nearly with this driving forward. Good performance. His last league game was in April for Liverpool. We must not forget this. Players will also need a bit of time, and it's good to have this group right now together to be able to work with them. We are right now together with this group since 3 weeks, and each and every day helps us. And this point and this first clean sheet will also help a bit in the table, but even more with the mood and the confidence. And like I mentioned, was the first step, not more. So it's not like with this point we guarantee that we will stay in this league. So we have to keep going, and many more steps are needed. But it was definitely an important first step. And yeah, definitely good for my players.
You mentioned Kabak. I did want to get your thoughts on your captain, Grant Hanley, and also Dimi Yanulis back in the side today. How did you think those two played?
Pretty happy. I think in general, so our whole team was fully committed, full of intensity. Also, like we helped each other. Grant, especially when the crosses and the situation where the crosses and the set piece came in, really rocking in terms of our defending. He also had to handle lots of criticism in the first games. Many compliments for this performance. And also Dimi. So yes, in the first games, there were a few mistakes also in his positioning in terms of defending. And yes, he had to wait a bit for his next chance. I think, especially going forward today, he was excellent and important for our game to develop our game. He had good movements up front. Also important for our really good second half in terms of creating chances as well, but also solid in terms of defending. And yeah, there was not one player I was not really happy with today. So in general, many compliments to the squad, many compliments to the team, and of course also especially to Grant and also to Dimi. I think it was an excellent performance of Dimi too.
Just a couple more from me if I can, Daniel. You've fallen the wrong side of penalty/VAR calls, notably last week at Everton. What did you feel? There was a couple of incidents in the first half. Sean Dyche has done his media. He's adamant they should have had a penalty. What was your take? The cruel, obviously, incident and Hanley as well.
In general, Sean is always talking about, don't give soft penalties away. And then you got the feeling, because he's speaking so much about this every time when a Burnley player goes down in the box, there should be a penalty given. In general, so it's a very smart and a pretty experienced side, and they know they have to use also the supporters a bit and try to get back on the back of the referee. And there were the first 3 incidents where no one near anyhow to be there was a penalty. But of course, anyhow, it's a bit like also sometimes the referee isn't there a bit with a bad conscience and wants to repair anyhow that he has not given a penalty before. So I think all the situation were nowhere near to be a penalty, and I'm quite pleased that my players didn't lose the nerves anyhow, and also the referee didn't lose nerve in this situation. And otherwise we have checked it. Otherwise, if there would be another outcome, we would have been there and have overruled the referee anyhow. So for that, many compliments. It was a difficult game also for the referee in this spicy atmosphere, and the supporters are always moaning about this. If I'm honest, also no complaints about the Burnley behavior, because this is what a smart and a very experienced side should do. And also try to get a penalty and to be smart in some situation. I was just quite pleased that my players didn't lose the nerves, and also the referee didn't lose nerves, because I think there was no penalty in one of the situations.
Just final one, Daniel. On a personal level, how tough has this spell been? Because it feels like you're getting questioned, your decisions in terms of selections, your base formation. We've had endless talk about that. And now you've obviously got an international period, maybe just to sit and reflect on what must have been a tough period.
Well, that's what you have to expect when you want to work as a head coach on this level. We're playing in the best league in the world. The spotlight is always on. Many people from the outside world don't know all the details about our difficult pre-season, about our situation as a self-funding club, that we can't spend lots of money, that we have to accept that key players arrive pretty late anyhow, that we have probably the youngest squad in the whole league anyhow. We had a tough fixture list, also criticizing you. And meanwhile, I'm working that long in my business, and my early 30s anyhow, it would have influenced myself. So apart from this, I'm never over the moon after a few good results. Last season we were praised on a daily basis, and I didn't run around and explain to everyone how to play football anyhow. And yes, of course, we had 6 losses in a row, and then also a bit of criticism. But I'm always balanced. I'm always leveled. I'm fully convinced that we're heading for a self-funding club, absolutely in the right direction. I totally back my players. I totally back also our key people. I'm not asking for more, buying more individual quality. We work with what we've got. And of course, the big ask for the only self-funding club on this level to survive on this level. But I'm fully convinced that we have a chance anyhow. And so that was today the first step in order to get off the mark, to get the first clean sheet, also to get the self-confidence on a better level, especially for our young lads. And was important for us in general. So, but I'm quite chilled, and also today not over the moon anyhow. I know that we have to take many steps, and it will be a long season, and will be a marathon. It's not important where you are after 7 games, just important where you are after 37 games. And in this mood, we will keep going.